welcome to another Minecraft video. What you're seeing now is a clip from the last episode showing what the mountain looked like when you last saw it. And now this is what it looks like now. There's been a little bit of changes going on. So let's have a look. The very first thing I did was to take this area here that was a drop where you had to climb down the hill and then climb up that hill to get over there. I leveled it just simply to make it easier to get across there. And likewise also this area was something of a smallish hill relative to the base over there. And I leveled that because, well, partly because I wanted to have a nice easy access walking over here, and also partly because frankly it was blocking my view of the dig. So now we come over here to the dig, and what I've done here is put in the beginnings of a wall that defines this edge of the dig. This wall goes around two sides of the dig right now, and there's markers on the other two sides for where it's going to be extended. As you can see here, this area has been dug out. It is now 7 blocks below the height that it started out as. I still have quite a ways to go digging over in this area. Along the way, I have been finding some resources, a fair amount of coal, and even a little bit of iron, which strikes me as being just a little bit unusual finding it this high up. I've been cutting the trees as I go, and they have been leaving these rather disturbing looking floating treetops. And I'm going to be doing something about that. These dirt pillars here with torches on them mark another border, the opposite border I guess you'd call it, of the limits of the dig. The borders go 20 squares out in all 4 directions from that central pillar, which gets torches on each side for every level excavated. And there's a lot of work to do, but I've got a good start on this thing, a real good start. And frankly, this area looks more like a parking lot than a mountaintop now. And give me a few days, and it's going to start looking like a pit. In fact, a very good view of this can be had from over here a ways, off to the side of the base, which itself has undergone a little bit of changes. The first thing I did was to put in a second row of glass all the way around to improve visibility. And in the process of doing some of this, I discovered something kind of by accident. You'll notice that the workbench and chests and the furnace have torches on top of them. Normally you can't do that, but I discovered that, okay, let's do it right here. Take this torch out. Now normally if you're aiming here to put a torch, you can't, because it opens the chest when you right click on it. But if you point the torch at the glass behind it, the torch ends up on top of the chest. The same thing works for the workbench and the furnace. So that's pretty cool. It lets me have a lot more light in here and just looks better. And frankly, it looks really kind of cool. I like that. Okay. Taking a look off to this side, I went out into the desert a little bit and collected some of the cactus and planted it in a partial ring around this side of the base with a lot of torches around it. And this has done a lot to control the chicken infestation. They're still around, and they still even come around the base some, but not nearly as much as they did before, because they have to frequently walk through the cactus to do it. And do you know what happens when one of these chickens hits a cactus? They pretty much pop. You know, you hear a squawk and see feathers, and that's it. They can't tolerate touching this cactus at all. And it's really very effective. You cut a cactus down. If you cut it at the base, it breaks into 3 pieces. You plant each piece, and after a couple of days, it's a full-grown cactus. And you can harvest quite a bit of cactus. And, well, I started this wall with 3 pieces, and it's grown considerably. Hey, chicken, go see the cactus. Okay, that may not be very nice of me, but hey, what the heck. All right, I need to stop inside and pick up a stack of dirt. And that way I can show you the best view of the whole project. All right. With the addition of all these lights and the cactus and so on, the zombie and skeleton problem has somewhat reduced considerably. Creepers still come around. All the others do too, but not nearly as much as they did. Okay, let's get the high view. That's the dig. And in fact, it looks really impressive at night when all the lights really show up. Because the 2 walls that have got a good start on them are lined with torches. And the pillars at each corner of the wall also have torches on top of them. It looks really cool at night. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to cut here and skip ahead to nighttime so that I can show you how it looks at night. And here we are. It is sunset, night is falling, and this is when the lights on the plateau that used to be a mountaintop really start to stand out. Especially that column of torches in the center. This is going to end up being an open pit mine, 40 squares on a side. I eventually intend for this pit to go all the way to the bottom of the world in the bedrock, or adminium, as I believe it is sometimes called. Along the way, I will be harvesting all of the resources, making a final solution to all of the zombies and spiders and creepers and skeletons and so on that are in the various assorted caves within the mountain. And the various spawners that I find along the way, I intend to build traps around them so that I can collect the drops from the mobs that spawn from them. And this will be a very valuable resource. Like, for example, a skeleton spawner is an arrow factory. If you don't destroy the spawner and just build a trap around it that kills the skeletons when they appear, then that spawner becomes an arrow factory. All you have to do is be in the area so that the skeletons will spawn. It's unfortunate that you can't pick up the spawners and move them, but when you find them, you can build a trap around them. Now here's plateau, this edge of the desert, and that area over there behind the base. I've tried to do a reasonable job of keeping it well lit in the area around there. It keeps the creepers and skeletons and zombies from being too much of a problem. They do come around a little bit, and that helps keep me supplied with a growing amount of gunpowder, arrows, feathers, and so on. Okay, dig back down off of this pillar. That's a handy trick, by the way, for getting a good view of the area around you. Just jump and throw down dirt as you do so, and build a 1x1 tower right where you're at, which you can then dig out and get a good view around you, and it's easy to tear down. Using dirt or sand, it's very easy to tear down. Which is why I like to carry at least a stack of dirt or a stack of sand with me all the time. Besides which, it just plain comes in handy when needing to plug things up or do a little bit of impromptu construction, something that's easy to tear down. Very useful, very handy. Okay, my plans for as I continue is going to be to continue work on tearing down that other half of the plateau and to start chopping some trees and also getting rid of those treetops that I can't reach, that don't appear to have anything but leaves that just simply won't go away. Can't help but to think that that's got to be a bug. Okay, so I'm going to make something that's going to help with this. Flint and steel. Place them like that, you get a flint and steel. And flint and steel, what else does it do but to start fires? And used carefully, it can be quite helpful. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to morning. Okay, it's morning. Let's go out and get a little bit of something done here. Okay, the way the flint and steel works is, say for example, you want to get rid of this block of wood, or this block of wood is like something you need to get rid of. You just get out the flint and steel, right click on it, and it catches fire. Burns up and it's gone. Very nice, very handy. And by the way, if you happen to have a flint and steel and you're being attacked, right click on the ground beneath your attacker and suddenly they're in flames, taking very real damage from it. Now, these floating treetops bother me. I find them to be somewhat disturbing, and frankly, I consider them to be an eyesore. So, I'm going to get rid of them in a most handy way that does not involve me getting up there to hack at every piece of it. Nice and neat and easy. And I will be doing that with all of these floating treetops as I get all of the wood out of them. I want to try to be careful, because if they're too close together, you can end up starting a forest fire, which might be spectacular to look at. It would also be a colossal waste of wood. Alright, now as I said, what I'm going to be doing here is clearing the rest of the plateau, collecting all of the wood from the trees as I go, which, oh gee, point the thing in the right direction, Ed. There are a fair number of trees within the cut zone. Okay, I guess not. They're all on the other side of this blind. This here is the border pit on this side. So there's the tower there with a torch on it, and on this side, on the other side of that set of trees, there's another tower, and there's a torch on top of it. This whole set of tree system will have to come down, and all of these trees over here will probably be harvested anyway, just simply because I'm really going to need a lot of wood. In doing this so far, just this bit, I have gone through 24 shovels and 12 pickaxes. And I expect to continue going through them at a considerable pace. Alright. So that's the status of Operation Pit Mine. I expect to get a lot of resources out of this. Like I said, there is a lot of coal. I've dug a bunch of it up, and I've seen spots here where there's considerably more of it just laying on the surface here as I dig. As I get further down, I expect to find a lot of iron, and eventually redstone and diamond and other resources as I go. And of course, eventually I'll start breaking into the caves and taking care of all of that and all of the stuff that's in there. Be sure to catch the next episode, where this plateau will begin to look a lot more like a pit. I also appreciate thumbs up, rate, comment. If you have ideas or suggestions, I'm glad to hear them. In the meantime, take it easy. I'm out of here.